Become a funeral fire. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Okay, this is Mr. Sellers' science class, scientific research. I'm going to install a light in my cellar. I'm aware that the lighting is not that great. I have to have the power to my overhead lights off, and therefore I have one light plugged in. It's kind of giving some good light, but it's not the best. So we're going to start by kind of reviewing some of the tools and stuff that we're going to be using today. So this is my cordless drill. I've got my carpenter's knife. I have, these are called wire pliers, by a brand name Klein. They're very good tools for working with electrical for many different reasons, and I'll show you why, but as we get through it. So I have the cable for the new light. These are the brackets and the hardware for the new light. I also have, this is an impact driver, so it's like a drill, but it's a little bit stronger than a normal drill, so it's a good thing. And we have our light here, which is in this thing. So open this up and show you what we got going on here. These are LED lights. I'm replacing some fluorescent lights in my cellar that have just stopped working, and to replace the ballast in the fluorescent lights is about $20 or $22 per light. Well, I had 3 of them bad, so I bought 4 of these LED lights for 60 bucks. So they're more energy efficient. They actually produce more light than the fluorescents as well. Got them from Jeff Bezos' trading store, right? So that's Amazon to the layperson. So here's the light. Very nice little light, I have to say. I've put in a couple of them already, but I thought I would make a video for the class to show this, how to do that. So, alright. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take down the old light. So, I'm hoping you can see this, and again, I understand the limitations of technology and so forth, so bear with me. So, here's my old light here. So, old light, like I said, fluorescent light, just stopped working. I put these in several years ago. Again, I assume the ballast is out, and the reason I assume that is it just stopped working suddenly. So, put that over there, some of my bee equipment. I have the power cut off to the light. Now, this is the cover. Hopefully you can see that. See what you can see. Oh yeah, perfect. You can see that. That's the cover. All these wires here, of course, are what's going to the light itself. This is the ballast here that I believe is bad. So I'm going to start by taking this little fella out. Now, this is my impact driver, and these are the screws here for it. Rather loud tool. Okay, just hanging by the electrical connections there now. If you're thinking I have a lot of junk in my basement, you are correct. But I don't need to hear it from you because I hear it from the wife. So, alright, got a couple of different wires here. Now, this one is the hot. This white one is the neutral. Now it doesn't have a ground connected, but there's a ground wire up here. The ground wire is the one that's not insulated, so it's typically just raw copper like that. So I'm going to take these off. These are called wire nuts. Ta-da! There's one. And there's two. Now you'll notice that there's two wires here already on each strand. And the reason that there are two lights on each strand is because this is in line with some other lights. It's in series with some other lights. So when I turn the switch on, this one turns on, but then another one will turn on down the line. So, alright, the first thing to do is going to be to mount the brackets. I'm going to go over here. Again, hoping you can see what I'm doing here, at least to some degree. So, these are the brackets. These things work really well, actually. You just kind of mount them up somewhere in here, and then once you get the wire plugged up, you just pop it up in there and it just snaps. So it makes a sound very similar to that. Okay, next thing I need to do, I'm going to kind of dry fit. This is called dry fitting. Dry fitting is I'm just going to make sure this thing fits where I want it to fit. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I would like it to do. Maybe come back this way a little bit. Yeah, and then I'll just have the plug come right over here. That's perfect. So I'm going to put one of the brackets around here and then somewhere around there. These lights aren't very heavy, so they don't need a lot of support. So we'll come back over here to my tools and we'll get a little drill bit. I'm going to drill what's called a pilot hole. So these are 5/32 size drill bits. So put this in here. This has what's called a keyless chuck. Can't see those ones. So the keyless chuck right here. So I'm going to hold it with my hand, and I'm going to very gently press the trigger to where that little this is called the chuck of the drill starts to tighten up on the drill bit, and then you kind of just give it a real good turn with your hand after you get it snug. Get it snug with the power, and then you really wrench it down there. So now the reason I'm doing this, and normally you can just drive a screw straight into wood, but the support pieces to my or the joist, if you will, are oak in my cellar, and they're quite dense. So as a result of that, I'm just going about in the center of this, right? It doesn't have to be exact. All right, we're going to switch back to our impact driver. Get these couple of screws that came with it. These screws are kind of not the best. That's very common when you buy things. What's the word? Economically. How about that? No, they're cheap. They're trying to get their costs down as much as possible, so putting in cheap screws is easy for them. So that's the reason I'm pre-drilling these. You know, oh, and I pre-drilled them too big. Made the hole too big. Alright, I'm going to have to come back with a smaller bit. Let's try that again. Trial and error. Alright, I'm going to go down a size. I'm actually going to go down 2 sizes. This is a 7/64 inch. So, you get to see this one more time. So, again, I'm going to hold it loosely, right, and then it starts to tighten up right here in the chuck. And I'm going to just wrench it down like that. Okay, now I'm going to drill somewhere close to that where my other ones are. Yeah, that's smaller. So you can see all my rando bee equipment. My wife makes me keep it down here. I don't know where else it would go. Alright, here's the bracket. We're going to try this again. Yeah, this is going to work perfect. Ta-da! And the light will just clip into here. Now, this is working perfectly. Piece of insulation in the way. Should be fine. Okay. Next, we're gonna wire this baby. Alrighty. This comes with lots of different options. You can plug one in, which is actually what I have plugged in over here. So you actually have a little adapter where you can just plug straight in. Has a little switch on it, which really works nice. But I want them to, when I come down my cellar, if I hit a switch, right, I want it to be able to just come on. I don't want to come down here and turn each one of them on. Alright, so I'm going to refer you to this. Trying to get this in view. These are the plugs, or this is the plug on the one end where this is what's called hard wiring, right, where I don't want to plug it in. I want it to be connected all the time with electricity. You'll notice it's got a black wire, which is the hot, the white, which is the neutral, and the green wire is the ground. It's eluding me. All right, so they also have these little, I don't know if you've noticed that, these little bitty little spots where you can see some of the copper. That's on purpose. That's why you can just pull these off. So see, these are ready to go now. So I know one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to need another wire nut because I only have two here. So something else I'm going to do is, well, I just happen to have some, but something else I'm going to do is, this is not really enough lead wire here, so I'm going to pull back some of the sheathing. So you can cut it. Just we'll cut a little bit of it there, like that. You don't need, that's called scoring. You don't really need to cut it per se. And I'll grab one of the wires, hold on to the other ones, and I'll pull it. Oh, can you see how it's pulling out of the sheathing? All right, perfect. That gives me a lot of lead. So, ta-da! There's really no need for it to be that short. And then I'll trim this, I'll trim the rest of this extra stuff off. These pliers have cutters on them right here, so I'll trim that off just to make it easier. So let me go get a wire nut. Some of my electrical tools. Now, for the sake of the video, I want to show you how to, we'll strip a little bit more wire out of it. Now, it's got a little bit exposed already, but I want a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use these things on the pliers right up here at the very top, right here. These are called wire strippers, and they have different numbers on them for different gauges of wire. And you put them in here, and you pinch it like so. This is a pretty small gauge wire. So, see how I have it pinched in there? Looks like I'm going to cut it, but there's a little bit above the pliers, a little bit below. So you're going to twist it like that, and you're going to pull it. When you twist it and pull it like that, you get more of the wire exposed. That's a good thing. It really doesn't need much. Again, I'm showing you just to show you. Strip a little bit more of this. Ta-da! These are really nice tools to have when you're wiring something. And I'm braiding, kind of twisting these wires together to make them work a little more kind of as one. I don't really want them to be going everywhere. That didn't strip very good. Ta-da! Okay. And we're good. Now the way this will work, right, is I'm going to wire this into these wires up here, and then this little plug here is going to go into the light. All right. Doesn't matter which one you start with. I'm going to start with the ground. So the two I have existing here, I'm going to just give this little guy a little twist just to help get it started. So hopefully you saw how I twisted the new wire around the other two existing wires. Then you're just going to twist, twist, twist. And then I'm going to tug on this to make sure it doesn't come pulling out, which is common. That could pull out. So forgot something else. Looking for some electrical tape. Surely I have some around here. Workbench is not very clean. Okay, I will revisit that in a minute. I definitely have some, but there's no need for you to go and look for it with me. So, all right. The other two wire nuts I kept in my pocket. So, what is this white wire called? And once again, what is this black wire called? Now see there? That one didn't come out. That came right out. So when I untwist this, that's why you test them. Okay, I'm going to twist it again. Good, good, good. Okay. All right, I found my electrical tape. So I just want to show you one little last thing you should do. I always do this. I think it's just good practice. Now, electrical tape is made with rubber in it, so it makes it a natural insulator. What you do is you wrap around the end of the wire nut, including the wire, and it prevents the wire from coming out. At least it makes it less likely to come out. And if it does come out, then it's going to be hitting the tape and not another wire that could cause a fire or something like that. Now, this is an easy little trick. I do this with anything I'm doing electrical wise because it's like an extra 5 seconds and it makes it safer for preventing electrical fire. Okay, then I'm going to push these back up in here into the junction box. No, I don't want those in here. I'm leaving this out because I'm going to plug the light in here and let's see what we can do. Go get it up there, close.